I'm Ashton Addison from Blockwest Capital for Investment Pitch Media, and today on the Crypto Coin Show we have Gaurav Dubey, CEO of TdeFi Crypto, Incubator and Advisory. Gaurav, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you, Ashton. And I've heard a lot of good things about your channel, the topics you've taken. It's a pleasure to be here and to have this discussion forward.
Thank you. And I've heard good things about TdeFi and just incubating quality projects, helping crypto startups get a leg up in the industry. And I'm excited to learn more about those projects and the way that you qualify them and what it takes to get qualified to get help with your crypto startup. So let's just dive right into the conversation by starting with a little bit about TdeFi and the work that your team has done so far, and then we'll dive into all of the details.
You want me to begin with what we're doing at TdeFi? Absolutely. Okay, cool. So I'll have to give a little, quick background about myself. I've been in crypto since 2015. I've been running a tech incubator here in India for 13 years. Was quite enjoying my VC life up until 2019, 2018 with the last bear run. When I observed two things, in that period of the prolonged bear market, and then when the bear was pinned again with the pandemic, that projects don't die because they have most of the projects don't die because they have a bad product or they have bad intent. They die for silly things. Like a lot of projects died out in the bear markets for very silly reasons that could actually be avoided with the word of wise. I'm using flashy words, but I'm saying it's as simple as that. Projects die off, literally die off for silly reasons. They burn out their capital on bad vendors at times. And by the way, like I said, I'll repeat it again. These are very, very silly reasons. They spend too much on things that don't matter in the larger scheme of things. So, and the pain was not just that I was losing capital to the startups that were dying off for these reasons. I was lucky enough to have a brighter portfolio. So I was we were beating the industry standards in terms of success rate. But then, like I said, I was getting bored of my VC life, and I said, this is the problem I can solve, and it will change, and it will mean a difference to the industry as well, because I'm very passionate about blockchain. I've been speaking and evangelizing crypto tokenization, the new form of equity as I see tokenization to be, since 2015, right? When not really tokenization, but crypto at that time, and then 2017 onwards, tokenization really. So I said, this is the space that I want to be in, and there is no real advisory, in this part of the world, and in general, there is very less competition. So why not? It makes absolute sense to be incubator and advisory. A catchphrase here is advisory, because people would think it's a parallel line of business. It's not. In our case, and this is where I'm also addressing your question of what we do in TdeFi. We help startups structure themselves initially for the launch, which means they're polishing their business model, really bringing token utility, token transactions, token velocity, all in all, a full token engineering implementation on their business structure, which also means that, like I said, we have to dive deeper into their real business, the business out of tokenization. We only take tokenization as an enablement. So you can only enable a real business with tokenization, right? And not the other way around, like a lot of people think. So we dive deep into their business structures. We, like I said, do the token engineering, polish them for their pitch deck, get them ready for investors, get them ready with the right marketing. Community is a big factor in crypto ecosystem. So we set up their communities initially, help them get the right partners to do their PR and marketing and community management and so on and so forth, and finally connect them to launchpads and exchanges. So that's a quick rundown of the incubation. Obviously, it's for a few companies. I can give you an example. A portfolio company of ours, Bike, it's one of the largest exchanges in Turkey, and they've been incubated with us for 2 years now. You can understand, exchange is a big business. They are 4.5 years old, fully blown technology, everything that you want, right? Profits positive, revenue positive, everything is just about great. So it takes a lot of time to nurture these companies to the next level, take them to the next level. So we do all of that, and we get a share of tokens. We only charge in tokens. We are a token-only company. But then there's a beauty to token, and this is what I evangelize about. It's not like equity. It's not diluting over time. It's not diluting by rounds. It's actually appreciating by rounds. It's appreciating as the company evolves further. So it makes absolute sense for a company like us that is resource and knowledge intensive to keep contributing to the same company. And that's why I said advisory is a catchphrase of this business. We're not charging anything extra for the advisory, but the same package continues to a lifetime of advisory, because this is where the real fun begins. Now you have a chance to jump from $100 million company to be $1 billion company and beyond. And that is where, we want to be. So exactly, that's when we jump in with larger things. We connect them to real world business use cases. Like I said, I have a 14-year background in corporates, global corporates. And the whole team here is expanding in the same space. So we are hiring people from top banks, top corporates, Deloitte, the Big Fours, Deloitte, PwC, and so on. And we're building that ecosystem on our side where these crypto use cases can expand into real world use cases, right? And be larger businesses. At the same time, our biggest strength is markets and market management. We advise them on how to be a publicly traded asset, which is, by the way, not a seriously taken topic. It seems like, not as seriously taken as it should be. Because when you go IPO, you have tons of investment bankers, tons of investment banks behind you, top tier investors, regulators. The whole space is designed to get you ready to be a publicly traded asset. Now, thousands and thousands of people will be holding a piece of your company, and you will be accountable and answerable to them, right? At the same time, your success depends on how much do they buy of your public stock. All those philosophies apply on crypto, but the only catch is here, you don't have an ecosystem of those investment bankers, those regulators, that exchanges to bring all of that liquidity to you, right? And that's where they need a lot of handholding. I'm not saying a little handholding. They need all the support. They need guidance on how charts work, how charts are in immutable history of an asset. Why would they be a part of a penny stock ETF in 3 years? Why would a random trader who knows nothing about crypto technology still buy their stock because he believes in his charting skills? Why would some regulator who is approving, let's say, the top 100 coin by their own standard, approve them? So all of that is not a topic that's often discussed in the undergrounds of crypto. And this is where we come in heavy. Our punchline is that you take care of your business, we take care of your token, right? To that level. So apart from the whole, like I said, token management, publicly traded asset management, treasury management, inventory management, hardcore financial services, we give them, like I said, access to ecosystem, access to marketing, access to investors, and everything else that they might need. So that's what we are doing at TdeFi. And we have helped 50 plus companies officially, as we call them, incubated companies. A bunch of them have achieved a unicorn status. We're very happy and proud about it. A bunch of them have touched a $500 million valuation again, and some are on their way to do that, right? The philosophy, like now I'll address the point where you said, what is the qualification side and how do we choose them? So with my background, you can probably assume or understand that I'm an old timer, right? I'm still not the NFT degen you would imagine, and in that capacity, I still don't believe somehow. I'm sorry to say, in the whole the new thesis, the straight curves of crypto theories. I'm still a believer of real world use cases, and that philosophy sticks to the foundation of TdeFi. If you look at our portfolio, we don't have the highest performing DeFi companies of their times. We don't have the highest performing land sales of their times. We don't have the highest performing stupid GameFis at their peaks. What we really have is the true essence of blockchain and crypto that is meant to change the world and change the life at the last mile. So we have the Uber on blockchain, right? It has the company called Drive. I don't know if I'm allowed to shill projects here. I'm not shilling, they're already listed. So I really want to evangelize these real world use cases. So there's this tiny little business in a corner of India that has 20,000 plus taxis registered on their app. These taxis were ex-Ubers, right? And a local app called Ola. There's a big PR around it, by the way, in the recent few months on how decentralized economy is taking over the centralized pieces because they are being abused around the world. We have an ex-CEO of a top cab hailing app. I can't name it here. And he has resigned from his top position, being the CEO for a few countries, just because he said, I don't resonate with the vision anymore. This vision was to bring prosperity and a life to taxi drivers. And now taxi drivers are literally putting themselves ablaze in airports to protest, to show that they're not making money, they're actually struggling. So I'm actually very passionate about these topics, and I want crypto decentralization to change this. So these kind of businesses are what you'll find incubated with us. Vulcan Force, our star metaverse company. You'd be surprised, their metaverse started before metaverse was a big thing, and there was no play to earn, there was no incentives. The first piece of land was really for the pleasure of creating. It was beauty created in the digital world for no incentive, for the sheer pleasure of creating. This is what I evangelize. This is what I'm talking about. So there are obviously tons of projects that I can keep talking about, but I wanted to establish the motto. So if you have, I'm talking to your audience right now, I'm addressing your audience. If you have a project that probably no one believes, but you think has the potential to change lives of people, at the last mile, and through the power of crypto and token, we'll be more than happy to work with you. I particularly have this reputation in the industry of not being a sheep. I don't follow big VCs. In fact, being an incubator, you can clearly make out that we come in before VCs too, right? So we are definitely not, our work is definitely not dependent on big brands. And so projects that are there to change the world are more than welcome.
That's great to hear, Gaurav. And there's a lot to unpack there, but I wanted to point out a few notable things. Just looking at you moving from sort of the VC world into the incubator, and how you determine which projects you're going to help incubate, sort of following a diversified portfolio as you would be in sort of investing your time into those projects. It sounds like real world use cases is obviously fundamental analysis of companies that you think should outweigh the volatility of the bull and bear market, because they actually have a use case and they have a product market fit. Are those kind of projects that you would want to work with? But I'm curious on how established these startups need to be to move into the TdeFi Incubator. And you gave the crypto exchange as an example. It sounds like they'd already been running for a few years, and you guys have helped them.
4.5.
Right, but there's also other projects that they just have an idea or a white paper or an alpha, At what level do you qualify, and how early have you qualified some of the projects that have joined into TdeFi?
The last line was actually is something that changes my answer entirely, but I'll address it at the end. Again, as a business, I would say, and I'm only speaking as a business, we are very proud about our recent incubations. We are incubating some really, really big companies from real world jumping into crypto with a real world use case. Our recent pipeline comprises of one of the largest American and European magazines that have influenced 60 plus Hollywood movies with their IP. Some big gaming companies that have delivered 3+ games at $1 billion valuation. Some of the largest asset trading banks, which is okay. As a business, I still have to think about success rate, and these companies certainly have a bigger audience, and my personal vision and the vision of probably you and the whole community of crypto to take it to the last mile, to the unbanked, to the 7 billion population, taking crypto to the 7 billion population. We have to take them, but to qualify for the TdeFi Incubator program, first of all, you got to have the right intent, which means we'll judge you personally more than professionally. I've been an angel investor for a decade plus, and you would back me on this, that angel investing is not about investing in the project; it's about investing in the person. So our primary objective is the founders, how committed they are. If they're doing 15 advisories and 5 projects, they're definitely not for us. But if they've been crazy about a vision and have delivered whatever is possible in their capacity, right? At least something that is possible in their capacity, which proves their adamance on the idea more than anything. We are happy to look at them, right? And they most probably will qualify. To give you an example and to touch upon the last line, you said, how early have we really incubated something, a project? This is where I introduce a secondary product that is something we don't advertise much. It's called TdeFi Testnet. We have 400+ startups that have applied in the last 2 years in TdeFi that were not qualified for the incubator program, but they did qualify to the ideation, and they did qualify as a person. And we said, okay, there is a problem with branding. We can't really put you, let's say, to quote within the shield examples, we can't put you next to Bite, the Turkish exchange, right? Their valuation is in a few hundred millions. I can't really put out a college-grown startup next to them, but we really want to help you because we see a big potential in you. So we put them in the TdeFi testnet. We give them the right advisory, help them with whatever we could, to bring them to the level that they can apply for incubation. So that's a broad funnel. And to feed onto that funnel and to feed on that vision, there is something, there's a project called BizThon that has been advertised and has been partnered with some of the big media houses, Cointelegraph, DWTC Dubai, big medias have covered it personally, and Christina has personally evangelized it for a bit. But the point I want to make is BizThon is a portal that we have developed internally. It is better than an average hackathon. It just is. It's not just that devs will come and code lines there to ideate a software piece of code, but it also involves marketing professionals, mentors from the industry, marketer, students, MBAs, whatnot, to create a whole ecosystem of startups. So, and with the right mentorship, with the right infrastructure knowledge, with the right advisory, all of that is structured in a score mechanism. And the last BizThon produced projects like bridge network that were finally incubated by us by the end of BizThon. So the BizThon is a highway access to TdeFi incubation. So just about a hackathon grade product, bridge network, was incubated by us. It was created in the BizThon. And to give you the full cycle story, they were eventually backed by, within 6 months of the product launch, they were backed by FTX and some of the larger VCs of the space. So while again bringing the story in the perspective, we incubated them before all of this came in, but again that was not a wrong decision, right? So a project with potential is definitely welcome at a super early stage, but usually we are looking for larger applications that can use us to the full potential. So the project that I'm talking about, like I said, is the comic book, the sci-fi thriller comic book company has 50 million plus audience across US and Europe, right? So they definitely they can definitely exhaust us through our full potential.
Interesting.
So we're looking for those kind of companies more than anything.
And you mentioned that you've been working at this starting throughout 2018, 2019, moving into the crypto scene in the bear market, and there was a huge run-up in the last 2 years, and now it seems to be getting more bearish as well. I'm curious, as an incubation platform, if you've seen a difference in the trend on the amount of startups or the quality of startups in the bear versus the bull market, and from other looking for other newer crypto investors that look from a fundamental perspective, if you think that it's better to be investing in this kind of bearish conditions versus bull, or does it just not matter and it's more to do with the company?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'll cover the last piece first because it's a short answer and a quite strong affirmation. This is the best time to invest. This is the best time to find projects, because those who are coming out at this time and are still building are the ones that will be the front runners of the next bull cycles. That's one. Second, in these markets, for a change, investors stand a chance to push their terms, because in crypto, capital is the cheapest proposition, right? Investors usually are begging to get their terms approved, which is actually good for the project also. But because there are so many investors and everyone's dying to get into a crypto deal, the best investors that actually introduce the best practices, forcefully maybe, but really good practices, they don't stand a chance, because there's someone else who is unsophisticated and is willing to throw money, right? So this is the best chance for the investors, no doubt about it. The best deals are coming. Now, I'll take the first part of your question, which is more specific to TdeFi. Yes, everything has changed. Believe me, everything has changed for TdeFi. The quality of project has bumped not just one, but a few levels. Now, in these markets, projects really understand that they do need advisory. They do need somebody on their side. They're looking at the titans falling. I'm sorry, I'm a little too influenced with Vulcan Forge. They are a Greek company with a whole, God ecosystem and ethos. So we have seen the titans falling in the last few months. Today we saw Voyager filing a bankruptcy, a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. What are we looking at? It can make anyone lose confidence on themselves, right? We are not leveraging. I'm not saying that I'm leveraging on that lost confidence, but I'm actually leveraging on their belief on advisory for the first time, right? For me, it's a chance to get the best companies who don't think they deserve the success they really deserve, and not just that we'll advise them. We want to advise them and handhold them through the tough markets. We really want to be a part of their journey, because they are an amazing idea. They are an amazing team. They have built a product. And like I said in the beginning, the first 2 minutes of our interview, if you remember, they are some of those examples who lose for silly reasons. what we are only trying to do, and you can call it the meat of our business. With these ventures, we really don't have to do a lot, by the way. We only have to give them a few lines of suggestions and walk them through the tough market. Now, yes, it's an easy statement. Yes, it might be tough for a lot of people. Not so much for us, because one, I have seen, this is my fourth bear market in crypto. Mm-hmm. If, by the way, if it is a bear market, it's not really, so far I'm not believing it's a long bear trend, but I'm saying it's a fourth bear trend if it is to be, right? One. Mm-hmm. It is my larger second recession or macro dip as Ray Dalio would call it, right? Mm-hmm. So I've lived through the 2007 to 2010 era as well. I was a businessman. I was investing. I had a big portfolio, not big, but still a lot of companies. Talking to me, this is a gold mine, right? Mm-hmm. So as TdeFi, we are in a very strong state right now. And one of the reasons we have actually increased our PR and presence, which I'm not really fond of, you wouldn't find me here and there, on channels, but we are actually accelerated our PR and marketing. Mm-hmm. Because now we want a wider outreach. We want people to know that we are here to help them. And the beauty of our business model is that we don't charge them money. So we are not here to eat them up in this trend, in their moment of fear. We're actually here to get our skin in their game.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And you mentioned there a couple times about aligned incentives and to help manage their token. And if they don't succeed, then it's not going to really help you guys succeed as well. So obviously aligned incentives will help with that. Now Gaurav, we don't have a lot of time left, but I would like to get this information to not just startups that are trying to help with incubation, but all companies, as you mentioned, now see that advisory, even in the smallest way, can help out. What is the best way for companies of all sizes to look into working with TdeFi at the various stages that you talked about?
Like any other seasoned entrepreneur would do, I've made and sold companies. First things we do is set up process. So the best way to reach out to TdeFi is the TdeFi website. It's a simple process. You can, everyone can see the TdeFi name here. And the website is pretty easy, tde.fi, which is the spelling itself. It's not tough to find the application there. The application takes you to all the available models. You can apply for advisory, incubation, fundraising practices, pitch optimization. All the options are there. So all you got to do is reach the website, fill the form. We are trying to ask the right questions so that we are very well prepared before our first call. So simple and sweet.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. I appreciate all the insights into the market and your perspective and helping all these great projects with real world use cases help the world. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Ashton.
And all the best in the future.
It was a great conversation. Thank you so much, Ashton. Thank you for having me.